The following is a presentation of TFNN.
Welcome, folks. Steve Rhodes, Tom O'Brien. We appreciate you growling and prowling out here with us. Right now, we get the Dow down 10, NASDAQ up 1, S&P's off a couple bucks. We got gold up 880, silver up 32. We got, let's see, light sweet crude flat, bonds up 24.6, King dollar up 6 ticks. And you're going to be making your way to Denver, Colorado.
I am. Yeah. Been up since 3 o'clock this morning, 3:30 this morning.
Oh my God! Working on your.
Well, I went to bed at probably about midnight or so, and I woke up at 3:30, right around 3:30. Saw my computer screen. I kind of left it on, saw it was moving. So I just said, let me just go see what the futures were doing. And a couple other things. Tried to go back to sleep, and that didn't.
And that
work.
was
So,
it.
yeah, I said I'm already up.
Well, folks, you folks are in for a trip.
It's going to be great.
Denver, Tampa, or Boston. I mean, Steve's coming in. It's live. It's in person. And, if you haven't been to one of his workshops, they're absolutely incredible. And I know the type of work that you do, man, and it's intense.
Yeah.
No, it is. It really is.
It's intense on my part, not on the part for the folks.
It's really cool.
But it is,
no, it is cool.
Yeah. Look, it's all, the way you do anything's the way you do everything. It's I
got to tell you this, folks. The first workshop that we did together, right?
Yeah.
Steve didn't sleep all night. All night. He was working.
That's right.
All night.
Absolutely. That's right. No question about it.
And we
no question. The one that we did.
I get to Tampa, and he's all set, and he says, I've been working all night. I said, oh my God.
And it was great.
No, it was
the boat
great.
Races were in town, I think. We had a couple beers. I went back to the shack, so to speak. I could hear the boats, going by, and I was, I was snoring.
You finally got some sleep. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's great being able to actually get out there and really work. During a radio show, we're so limited on really what we can do as far as taking a look at things. And then actually, the great thing is always going back and going through some of my. Just some of my old material, if you will, and being able to pull it all together. It's always I always like to think I get more out of it.
No, I agree. That's what happens, folks. What's so neat about doing these, particularly the Master Trader, is that we get as much as the client's going to get.
Yeah.
Because what you do is you put the material together, and most of the time. You don't even know what you know.
No, I know. Oh, absolutely.
That's what it really comes down to, which is pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I've got so much information, and so I'm trying to identify, what's really the best way to lay this out?
Exactly.
So that it works for folks.
Exactly.
Because there are a number of moving targets here. But to me, that's what where my mind has been. How am I going to make the best use of this information.
That's right.
So that it's easy for somebody to walk through
in a smooth way,
in a very smooth way, so that it's logical from a trading strategy standpoint. And so that's really what the fun is.
And every time you get better,
Oh yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
And what's cool about that, folks, and keep that in mind just in life in general.
Yes.
Because if you put the work into it every time, you actually do get better. And that's cool in itself.
Oh, it is.
No matter what you're doing out there, which is pretty neat. So it's, don't worry about stepping into it. Listen to this story. This is an amazing story. You talk about, one of those 4 agreements is about taking action.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite agreements.
Massive action.
And people that know me, they're like, okay.
Massive action.
I know that's what you do.
So I got to tell you the story because this is not only an outstanding story, but the basis of this is so far over the top, it's unbelievable. I have a friend, that is highly successful in the real estate business. And I have a few of them, actually, but this one particular guy, he has over 10,000 apartments.
Yeah.
Okay? 10,000, folks, okay? And he's been doing this, going on about 45 years right now.
Yeah.
And I was with him all last week.
Right.
Okay? He's telling a story. So there's a couple of things that he said that, we were having a blast and we were away together. And but he said a couple things that really hit in a big way.
Yeah.
The first thing he was saying, we were talking about. He was just talking about real estate in general. He says, "Listen, all that really happens in real estate is you're going to get real rich if you get old."
Yeah.
That was the first thing he said, which was kind of intriguing.
Yes.
And what we were talking about, he was never leveraged out. So even when he had his ups and downs, he was talking about there's no doubt that the real estate market fell apart this time. It is a commercial, apartment building. But bottom line is that it only made a difference if you were leveraged out and the cash flow wasn't there. But the asset value fell apart. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
And then he was telling me about how over the course of years, even the prior dips, what would end up happening as long as you weren't over leveraged, well, it didn't matter if the cash flow was coming in, right?
That's right.
But listen to this story. So picture this, folks, okay? You're talking about hundreds of millions, not just small millions, right? This is the story he tells us, right? When he was first starting out, he was doing this huge building over, right?
Yeah.
And the worker or something said, are you going to put stoops in these things?
Yeah.
And he's looking around. He doesn't even know what a stoop is to the window, right?
Yeah.
And he was explaining. Yeah. He says, you don't have to know everything when you get into something. He says, what you have to do is get into it first, and then... And that story was incredible. I mean, I'm looking at him, and I knew when he was telling the story that I didn't know the story. I said, you know what? He's going to say that he jumped into that deal.
Yeah.
And bottom line is that he did.
No, and in fact, I don't care how prepared you think you are when you go ahead and get into some business.
Right.
You don't.
It's just a start.
That's right. So you can sit there and say, I need this and this and this. Other than from the standpoint of being undercapitalized.
Right.
Totally undercapitalized.
Right.
Which in some cases, it doesn't stop folks from going ahead and trying to start a business.
Right.
If you will.
Right.
But so a lot of times what people will do is when you ask people why they don't take decisions, why they don't make decisions, what they'll give you is a whole list of resources.
Yes.
Even inside businesses.
Sure.
Why did you do this? Oh, we didn't have enough of this. We didn't have enough of that. Yeah. It's really just about being resourceful.
There's no such thing. You got it.
It's not resources.
Right.
It's just about being resourceful and jumping in.
Right.
Which is why I have used and coined this phrase, turning your mirrors into windows.
I like that. Okay.
Just simply because it's our mirrors that stop us from taking action. It's our windows that allow us to take action.
It absolutely is.
And so as soon as you understand that, that's how you actually move forward.
Yeah.
And what was interesting is I don't know what event it was that made me start to reflect on it, but so much of my focus ends up being on really taking action. And, people will take a look at the cost of actually doing something.
Right.
I started going back and taking a look at the bigger costs that I incurred in my life were not doing something.
There's no doubt about that.
And it was usually out of fear.
Right.
That stopped you, in your foot tracks. And so, and I was like, wow, because I really hadn't spent much time really thinking about that.
Yes.
Because it was always on the other side. I always like to be able to take a look at two sides to the trade or two sides to anything that you do. And, and I think most people will go back and they can go through their career, and there's probably two or three things that if they had done differently, meaning some action that they would, so the cost of inaction was much greater than the cost of actually taking action.
Oh, it's huge.
And it would have been the same for me. Look, if I hadn't had the privilege of having a business partner who said, hey, turn on your radio and listen to this guy for a few minutes, okay? And that's all it took for me to know I wanted to take action. Didn't matter that I couldn't read a chart.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And if I hadn't taken that action...
You can read them all now.
Oh, yeah. Well, we do our best, yeah.
Oh, my God.
What's great is that there's so much out there. And the tools available to us.
It's huge.
It is,
it's huge.
It really is cool.
Hey, how about K. Rico?
Yeah, I know. I was listening to your show on the way home, then they came in with a commercial or something talking about, or the news, maybe it was between the 5 and 6 show and talking about the earthquake in Mexico.
Well,
and K. Rico would just come on and say, no, he was...
He figured he was wrong.
His feeling wasn't right.
And what happened, folks, what's so wild about this? So picture this. I hadn't seen the earthquake. I didn't see it. And so I'm coming on the 4 o'clock show, and I see it in the den saying, G7 in the den saying, I can't believe this thing actually happened.
Yeah.
So I'm reading what he's saying. So at the beginning of the show, I even forgot, welcome, folks.
Right. How about that?
I was pulling up the earthquake, and I couldn't believe it. So I'm pulling up the earthquake on...
That's great.
We got a bunch of screens there. I'm pulling up the earthquake on one screen. I'm saying to myself, oh, my God.
Yeah.
What happens is there was 2 earthquakes simultaneously. One in Indonesia and 1 in Mexico.
I see. Okay, I didn't know that.
There was a 7.4 in Mexico and a 6-point-something in Indonesia. And so that had to be, it was at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because when I was pulling up, it was 4. And I says, oh, man, this is a trip. And then what I did, of course, is if you go out, folks, the reason that I think it's so important is that if you remember, Kay Rico called us the day before the tsunami and the earthquake in Japan. And if you go out and you Google TFNN call, I think tsunami of Japan, you're going to see their call. We have the calls out there, which is just a total mind blower. But anyway, it's crazy. And then I get a couple of different emails, which is pretty cool, because Bob Carver, which is he's got a dynamite site. He always has the disturbances on it. Because those disturbances are a big deal. Geometric storms. That's the term I'm looking for. The geometric storms. So,
well, at least there was an earthquake somewhere. There was no earthquakes in the market.
And
there's not going to be an earthquake in the market until this NDX, until the Qs want to do something.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt
about
NASDAQ
it. Futures, when I take a look at this trend line here, that it keeps riding up. It is just that markets are not going to go anywhere until this thing decides to take it with it.
That's right. There's no doubt. And, last night I was looking, when you actually, what happens, folks, is that, and, you got to remember something, we're the 21st of March, you're not that far away from coming into May.
Yeah.
And I know, of course, the bears are looking and say, May, oh my God, hold it, I can't wait another month and a half. We might have to wait a month and a half. We'll see. We'll see where, if in fact you get any selling anywhere, or just more complacency stays in the marketplace. Okay, so now this is going to get interesting here. I just pulled up the FTSE.
Yeah.
The FTSE's not performing this morning. Let me see if I can see what's inside that FTSE.
Yeah.
Now, what we had, the DAX isn't either. Okay, so, well, we'll see. Inch by inch.
Yeah,
Right to cinch.
That's right. I love it. Oh, I like that.
Steve Rhodes, Tom O'Brien, you stay right there, folks. We're coming right back. The Dow's down 14, Nasdaq's flat, S&Ps are off 2. We're going to be right back.
X-Story Gold Mines, an NYSE Amex-listed company trading under the symbol XG, is slated to be the newest gold-silver producer in Argentina. X-Story is forecast to produce more than $250 million in bullion annually, beginning in 2013, at a cash cost of less than $200 for each ounce of gold produced. That forecast will make X-Story one of the highest margin operators in South America and a sector leader in the mining industry. X-Story has $50 million in its treasury, having spent over $60 million to date on drilling and engineering. The ultimate size of its Argentina discovery could be determined by year-end, as results from the 6 drills operating at the site are fully assessed. To find out more about X-Story Gold Mines and their exciting growth potential, click on their banner on the front page of TFNN.com or check them out on the NYSE Amex under the symbol XG.
TFNN is proud to bring you the cutting edge of investment newsletters. Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks. Ken is a top-down investor who lets price and volume in the major stock indices tell him when to be in the market and when to be out. By using his unique blend of fundamental and technical analysis, Ken will protect your hard-earned capital while realizing breakout gains. Go to TFNN.com today, click Investment Newsletters, and get Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks free for 2 weeks.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investments, and whether you're bullish or bearish on Chinese stocks, the ETFs from Direction Shares are there to help you seek to maximize your returns. Bull ETFs for a rising market and bear ETFs for a falling market. Direction Shares gives you the tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus
and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor, Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Hi folks, turns out my best student became my best teacher. Steve Rhodes absolutely raised my standards, and I'll guarantee he'll raise yours.
Thanks, Tom. What I've learned is that if you want more, you must become more, and that transformation, folks, that occurs the moment you decide to become a master. Now, the quickest way to mastery is through immersion, and for 2 solid days in Denver, Boston, and Tampa, I'll create a new standard of wealth for those few trader investors who have a burning desire to succeed. At my Master Trader course, I'll teach you how to create the ultimate money machine. These are the best-kept secrets in the business. Roadblocks, folks. Dabblers give up when they first appear. Stressors last just a little bit longer, but masters expect roadblocks and achieve extraordinary results when they bust right through them. I have all the benefit of knowing the type of wealth creation that I can generate for you. You don't. That's why I'm making this unconditional money-back guarantee. If for any reason you're not satisfied with my Master Trader course, I'll refund every penny. That's right. I take all the risk, and you get all the benefit. Go to the homepage at tfnn.com and sign up today.
Here's what people are saying about Tiger TV.
Let's go to John in Tampa. Hey, John, what's going on?
Hi, Tom. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. You having a good day out there?
A wonderful day. I love your Tiger TV. I watch it every day. I'm like a kid in a candy store.
Oh, man, I appreciate you out there watching it. How long have you been watching the Tiger TV?
I'm watching almost a month now, and it's wonderful.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it's cool. You see the charts and everything. Thanks so much for the hard work.
Tiger TV, a great news service from TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Goldfields. For more information, just click the Goldfields banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. Steve Rhodes, Tom O'Brien. We appreciate you growling and prowling out here with us. Right now, we get the Dow down 7, Nasdaq's up 1, S&P's flat. We get gold up 11.20, silver's up 49. Let's go over to those bonds. Bonds. So we got bonds moving again.
Yes.
Not much.
Rejected the low.
Yeah.
Well, if you're looking at the bonds, I was just had the TLT up.
Yeah. So let's put the TLT. That's fine. So we take a look at the TLT. Yeah. So that means there's no sign of strength yet, but you came into that bottom light of volume. Now you need a sign of strength.
Yeah, and the TLT needs to, from the long side, needs to get inside the 110.95. You're trading at 110.91. That's got a lot of volume there, so it doesn't have the volume today. But at least for it to get up and test the gap.
I got 111.10.
Yes. 110.95? No, on the 14th?
Oh, I see.
14th. Yeah, I'm looking at. I was just looking at the current.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, right.
Yeah, but yes, yeah, I know what you're looking at.
No, exactly. So let's go over and we take a look at the Oracle. Oracle last night came out with numbers.
Right? Okay.
So look at that. I can't hold it. Nice. Okay, so watch. What you have with Oracle. This is where it gets really interesting on a fundamental aspect too. Technically, all it was doing is going up into where it came down from.
Yeah.
Thus far, it hasn't been able to hold. It opened at 30.87, traded to 31, coming back at 30.
What was it doing in the after
it was trading at 30.80.
Was it okay?
Yeah, 30.80 to 39. It was up about $8. I mean, 80 cents. Now, what gets interesting, folks, is that when you can beat the bottom number is always a number that you can beat pretty easily. And what I mean specifically, but the top number on that,
right?
You know, they beat, but not as much. So I mean, it's not that Oracle fudges numbers. I'm not saying that, but from quarter to quarter,
it's much easier to control expenses.
From quarter to quarter, you can do whatever you want to do. I mean,
yes.
when you're taking in billions, you know, it's like, okay, you put it in this quarter or next quarter, right?
Yeah. Well, you know, general accepted accounting guideline principles.
Yes, I know.
You know, and when you start dealing with accrual expenses, you know, a lot of expenses, you know, they're not cash-oriented.
Right.
You know, and especially when you're in a large company like that, you're taking a look at actuarial tables.
Right.
You know, just there's a whole bunch of different things that, you know, folks can do or get away with.
When you were an accountant, did they put a big hat on your head like like one of the magic, like the Harry Potter?
The reason I was a successful accountant was I always had drawers that if I needed to pull something out of, I could.
I'll tell you, you know, it's amazing. Now, they must. I mean, I understand, and we're talking about it. These are all legal deals, folks. But that's what they teach you. I mean, that's what you have to know.
Well,
right?
you have to know that. See, they don't teach you that. What happens is you start to get into business, or you start taking on, let's say roles as CFOs, or and you realize that, especially when you start doing, a public filing, reporting, or what have you, and you realize the importance there.
Right.
You're aggressive in a way where you're just not throwing in the kitchen sink unless you absolutely have to.
Right.
And you've got auditors that come in there and they take a look, and they vouch for things, but they're not going through your, it's nothing that's illegal.
No, I'm with you.
That was being done.
Right.
As I say, when you're and I think that when the healthcare program went into effect, all right, I believe that most of the major corporations out there were able to go ahead and accrue some substantial health-related expenses because all of a sudden they were going to have to, or it looked like they were going to have to cover folks that they might not have ordinarily covered, and so there was some additional expenses that are not there, and these corporations are still carrying these things on their books.
Okay. And
you go through and you read the MD&A, the 10Qs,
and what happens
the
there
10Ks.
is that's like a little stash of cash.
It's a little stash of cash right now because it's not anything that's gone out the door.
Right.
But they were able to write it off, which meant that they had, So when they talked about the healthcare program and they were talking about, and what ended up, and because of the economic time that we were in, it actually was from a tax collection standpoint.
Right.
It was a bad deal passing it.
Yeah.
Because you had all these multinational companies that were going to be hit first and needed to be able to accrue the expenses
and they were going to accrue.
Right. Yeah, that's right, depending on what happens. So there is a stash of cash.
Stash of cash.
It's drawers. It's little drawers. If you wanted to be successful, if you want to be if you want to be a successful CFO, and if you want to be a successful CEO, you better have a good thinking CFO.
Right well, what's interesting about that, and folks, we're all, if you talk about this, we're all CFOs for our own house and our own business.
We are.
And I always do that. I always have, you always got to have these little places somewhere, just for all those days.
Yeah. You do.
Steve Rhodes, Tom O'Brien, all you tigers and tigresses, you stay right there. We're coming right back. We got a flat market out here, folks. We're going to be right back.
Hi folks, this is Tom O'Brien. If you want to get great trade setups in equity as well as the option market, come over to TFNN.com and test drive my daily newsletter, Market Insights, for 2 weeks absolutely free. Each trade setup comes with a profit projection as well as stop placement. Included in Market Insights is a Twitter alert service. This allows you to take advantage of intraday setups. Volatility is back in the markets. What does that mean to you? To me, it spells short-term opportunity each and every day. The days of trending up on lighter volume are gone. We have come off the highs with volume across the globe. Don't get caught in a complacency trap. Many of the indices have given back 2 months of trading in 1 week. We have a trader's market. You can take advantage of this trader's market by test driving my daily newsletter, Market Insights, free for 2 weeks. Market Insights will give you the edge you're looking for in the markets. Go to TFNN.com, under newsletter, hit the Market Insight tab for your 2 week free test drive right here, right now.
In just December of last year, the price of gold was down over 10%. In today's highly volatile gold market, you need someone in your corner that understands the complex relationships that exist within the price of gold, as well as within a variety of gold equities. Whether it's the South African gold miners and knowing how the Rand-dollar relationship will affect their bottom line, or understanding how John Paulson's $5 billion trade in the GLD can move the market,
Tom O'Brien gives you the direction you need to become a better trader each week in his newsletter, The Gold Report. With over 20 individual equities covered and almost another 20 on the potential watch list each week, in addition to covering the XAU, HUI, GLD, and dollar, The Gold Report is a great source for any trader that is looking to be diversified in today's volatile gold market. For your 30-day free trial to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report, log on to TFNN.com today. Don't miss out on this great offer. Act now.
What type of investor are you? Conservative, moderate, or aggressive? No matter your investor personality, your overall portfolio should reflect your financial goals, time horizon, and your risk tolerance. Help ensure your portfolio is appropriately invested with an asset allocation plan from Morgan Stanley Smith Barney. Simply picking the right stocks is not enough. Research has shown that choosing the right proportion of stocks, bonds, and cash is essential to the success of your long-term investments. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney believes that a carefully selected portfolio can lower volatility and increase investment return potential. Find out about what asset allocation and the Morgan Stanley Smith Barney financial advisor can do for you. Call Angela O'Brien, First Vice President and Certified Financial Planner of the Clearwater, Florida branch at 727-441-6108 today to discuss your personal financial needs. Asset allocation does not assure a profit or protect against loss in declining financial markets. Investments and services are offered through Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC. Member SIPC.
In the world of financial markets, there's a new player in town with an exciting new way to trade the markets. Nadex now offers binary options as well as bull spreads in a wide range of indices along with commodity and forex markets. With as little as $100, you can gain access to a new way to trade global financial markets while guaranteeing that your risk will always be capped. Nadex allows you to multiply your trading opportunities in ways never imagined before and access markets you once thought were out of reach. With short-term trading opportunities available, including binary options expiring each hour the market is open, Nadex allows you to take advantage of a variety of market conditions regardless of volatility or market direction. Now is the time to take advantage of this exciting new market. Don't let this trading opportunity pass you by. Open your account today by clicking on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Nadex, a better way to trade.
This segment is brought to you by Crocodile Gold. For more information, just click the Crocodile Gold banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We got Big Blue up at 98 cents. Ma Bell's up 10. You got ExxonMobil down 55. Disney is up 24. Hey, you know, Disney is going to be opening up Avatar.
Yeah, I heard you talk about that.
In Orlando, folks. They're opening up Avatar Land. It's going to be 2014.
You know, they had to do something to come out against Harry Potter.
Yeah,
because
and that's at Universal, right?
Yeah,
and I heard that's huge.
Just absolutely, huge. When Universal opened up Islands of Adventure,
okay,
I still had my retail stores out there.
Yes,
and now it's a great park for roller coasters. If you are a roller coaster person, that's the park that you want to go to in Florida.
Wow,
because there's just one after another.
Really?
So it's really a great park for that. And when they opened up, it was Jurassic Park that they had out there. Now, I opened up the Jurassic Park ride, the photography side of Jurassic Park out in California, and that turned out to be the most successful revenue per rider splash photo. It wasn't a splash photo; we just called them ride photos.
Listen to this. You're gonna love this.
Yeah.
I got to show you this. I have one of that with me, Tommy, and all the kids. Yeah,
in California. Okay, so and
that's a riot.
Yeah. See, I took that business over from Kodak.
Okay,
because they didn't understand what business they were in. See, that's why I always, so the stuff that I talk about, folks, it's all stuff that I do.
Yeah, I do.
Have done, and so I was able to Kodak. Now, here's the cool thing: Kodak sponsored the ride. Okay. They put in the equipment.
Right.
I ran it, and they made more money by having me run it. I made more money. I mean, it was great because they didn't really understand the business that they were in, how to really bring the customers in, how to actually lay the store out.
Right.
What they knew about was, they had enough money to do whatever they wanted to do.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that you're going to be successful at anything.
No.
Having money and success don't necessarily correlate, to each other.
Big time.
And So anyway, so when they did open roller coasters, they still were never really able to penetrate Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
It was impossible to overcome that icon.
Right.
And then with the number of properties that did still in fact, what ended up happening, the real concern at Universal was that you had two parks right next to each other, and whether you're going to kind of rape and pillage from each other.
Okay.
And in essence, that's to a certain extent what occurred. And whereas in Disney, even though they had the 4 core parks there, people went to 3 out of the 4.
You did. They walked. You did.
In fact, and we knew which days because people have patterns.
Yes.
So there were patterns, during where people in essence were going to.
The guy with the rock and the.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Is that,
Indiana Jones. Yeah.
See, so
Indy's at MGM Studios.
Oh, it is
at Disney.
Okay, so I went there. That's good too. I like that.
That's a great. Yeah. So the good entertainment type of things, but what really finally turned the page, and this is after what seems like probably 15 years, maybe more. What really turned the page was the Harry Potter ride.
It was, huh?
Yeah, and that place is absolutely packed.
Is it?
Yeah. So it only made sense when you said. I heard you say that yesterday about Disney's going to put an Avatar. That will do.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I can't wait to see
turn
that.
the screws.
I love
now.
that movie 13 times.
Really?
Yeah. I've probably watched it 10.
I haven't seen it in 3D.
Yeah. Me either.
But God, I just got to tell you, and then we'll go to K Rico. So it was in Costco.
Oh, did you?
70-inch screens now, just sitting out there. Big, huge,
for cheap money, right?
Yeah. These screens are not that expensive. Well, not a 70-inch screen, but actually they just put out a brand new sharp. I think it's called Aquas or something like that, which is really sharp.
Yeah,
I love those monitors.
Yes, right.
Boy, it's beautiful.
Boom!
Yeah.
Oh, big time.
Oh my God! Yes, it's great.
K Rico, what's going on?
Hi guys. I hope you can hear me okay. I've had some telephone.
Those earthquakes came in.
I guess yesterday I did say there's still a strong be something happening.
Yeah, you had
never give up on yourself.
You had 24 hours and you got it.
yeah. Andre, at the same time, you know how you do different things. And after I was done working out, I was just leaning against my dryer and it was tumbling over and over. And all of a sudden, the word tumbling and then tumbler, which is earthquake tremor in Spanish, came into my mind very strong. And I believe that was about the signal that made my mind start to think, I really believe there's going to be today.
I love it.
Well, you got 2 of them, man. You got 2 of them. Well, it's pretty wild. As soon as they're talking about in the den, so I pulled it up. I think you probably heard the story what I was saying this morning. And, it was right at the exact same time, one in Indonesia and one in Mexico. Hey, who was the guy, you were telling us before that you have a mentor that taught you all this stuff. Who is that?
Okay, this is the fact. In high school, the smartest guy, who was also a very good athlete and a good guy, he turned me on to a gentleman's name. Didn't know a thing about. Oh, that's Edgar
Casey, yeah. That's a ball game. That's pretty cool, yeah.
Right, but Edgar Casey led me to study how the mind can be open, but we just don't realize it. And then that led me to Einstein and all his theories. And then that led me to...
that led you to Steve and I, right?
That led me to Napoleon Hill about Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah, that's a great book.
Napoleon Hill's famous words for me, were most functions of the brain. So I just combined all this kind of thinking and let my mind just open up and look for areas of my brain that just are totally dormant and try to exercise opening that dormancy.
Yeah.
And then I got turned on to a gentleman in Acapulco in first major earthquake as a young guy working there, and that man taught me and the triangulation and all the different facts that go on underneath the universe. My visions and maybe some of my dreams enter into my mind and thinking process, and I just let it go, and I don't think negative of it. I just think
you don't fight it. That's
right,
cool.
That's right.
That's what you're supposed to do, right?
That's right.
And that's it. I mean, Edgar Casey does play into my mind a lot lately because he could read people's past lives and future lives, and he could tell what was going on in their lives at the present time also.
Yeah, no, he's pretty intense. That Edgar Casey Institute, that's in Florida somewhere, right?
I really don't know.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is.
Right now, I am exhausted, to be honest with you, because I could not sleep last night because of these...
Also, I'm sleepy, so I think both you and I need just power naps. That's it.
Well,
just 10 or 15-minute power naps.
Yeah, Rico, you're not supposed to take that...
I don't take it personally. It's just that it hits me like, well, okay, that freaks me out a little bit now. Okay, I'm okay. But the fact is...
That keeps you sane, man.
Yeah, I believe that's true. I mean,
I'm talking to ourselves for hours
in my own quiet, personal way.
That we appreciate
it's like you guys are in my apartment with me here. We're talking. I'm listening. I'm talking back at you. I
love it. Oh, great. Yeah, that's good.
So I'm a loyal fan, and it's just sometimes I think all human beings go through a period of questioning their own thoughts and never think negative of my own thoughts and ideas. Never.
It's a beautiful thing, brother.
I love it.
Well, listen, man, safe one, okay?
Okay, thank you, guys.
Okay.
Hey, let's look at the XLE. Interesting out here. The XLE is actually the one of the weakest sectors inside the SPYs. Now, it all depends on how you're going to take a look at it.
Yes.
But it's got a little bit of juice in it today. As far as the swing point that it's going into.
Yes, it does. It's 5 million versus 13.
And you're only an hour, into the trading session.
And what gets interesting about this is, yesterday I was talking about...
I heard you say ExxonMobil was down, that's the big key there.
It is. So. And, no, it is. And what you also have is this. I think the way that is based...
Okay.
And the gold stocks have, they're down 20 or 30%.
Right.
So it's like, okay, if this is going to play out like we think it's going to play out, meaning only on the way down, there's no buying on the way up. Let me qualify that. There's no volume either way, right? On the golds, however, what we've had for 3.5 months is volume on the way down.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
Now,
good point.
If I take the larger, so on the shorter term, the market's, saying, okay, what do I want to do? But the larger term, if I go back 6, 8 months, bottom line, every time that you're coming down, the volume expands dramatically.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So if energy goes next in the XLE, that's going to basically have harmony in a big way because that energy has gone up big time.
Yes.
Now, and when you have oil where it's at big time, that would be the total disconnect in the marketplace. Because, see, the disconnect, for folks that own gold stocks, is a huge disconnect. They're basically underwater beyond belief.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And they're trying to figure out why is gold at $1,650 and we're underwater.
Yeah.
Now, the same thing could happen in the energies, but that would tell me that that's the lead dogs.
What I do is, if you just simply pay attention to XLE, XLF, and XLK, so you got those three sectors, you have the majority of the S&P. So just really 3 of the 9 sectors that you really have to pay attention to. I mean, the other ones you can take a look at rotation in or out or what have you. You get the financials that have got nice juice on the way up right now.
Right.
And technology is obviously with Apple or what have you. That's what's keeping it up there. But the energy sector, and we had played the energy sector on the short side. We're not in it right now, but we had played because it was the weakest of of all the sectors that were out there.
Well, if you look at the XLE right now, just on this 10-minute, that was an ABC down. It broke the B point, broke it with volume, and it was get-go. So now we'll see whether and Chevron, CVX. Let's see what. Oh, interesting. Okay, so Chevron. Yeah, that's the second weighting. Yeah, Chevron's going after it too.
Yeah,
now Chevron
had some volume at the high, though. I think, didn't it?
They all did, I think. Let's see. Your first high up there had 14 million. Yes. Oh, this is sweet. So watch this.
It doesn't. Okay.
Watch this. But watch what it's doing. So your first high on Chevron goes back, and folks, these are ones that I love like this, and this is why. Now, this is subjective, okay, but you're looking at the whole picture. You're looking at 6 months. They say, okay, the first high, we know what the benchmark is.
That's right.
Nail it. Tack 2, boom, October 27th. Chevron, 1001. Second high, 110.99, volume of 11 million. Third high, 112.28, volume of 8 million. So your benchmark is 8, 11, 14.
Yeah.
Now, that's on the top side. On the downtown, when one of the big places you came down from 107 to 102 was 24 million.
Yeah. And now in that case there, it's got to, it's still traded above the high of that high volume candle.
Right.
So that's going to be your first area of support.
Now, we're going to know right now, which is going to be pretty cool, is that we get this ABC structure on the way down. 268,000 on the 10-minute. We're 8 minutes into it, and you're at 150. So we'll see if this closes under 107.79.
Yeah, and you got the financials now all of a sudden have some volume in it. So if you just take a look at just in the first
what just happened?
Got 34. Where the financials closed today, the XLF had a caller from Tennessee during the early show. And so, you know, what you want to be paying, if you're long the financials, folks, what you have to pay attention to today is the closes below 1570. Then what you're setting up is you're setting up a bearish engulfing candle. And that is a leading indicator, you know, to be really cautious out there. Now, in the case of the XLF, that have to pay attention to what is it closing into.
Right.
You know, it does have some good support at 1544 positions. That's what I would do.
Steve Rhodes, Tom O'Brien. You stay right back. We're going up to Newton, Mass. with our man Basil Chapman. Then Tucson, Arizona, Larry Pizzavento. Back here with David and myself this afternoon. We're going to be right back.
Our newsletter, Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind. In each weekly issue, Larry explains what's going to happen in the markets based on the pattern he sees developing and gives you actionable trade ideas based on those patterns. Plus, you'll get his detailed analysis on a variety of markets and sectors, including stocks, treasury bonds, the gold market, oil, the dollar, the forex market, and more. And you'll get the Technical Corner segment, which is a short but powerful weekly training session Larry is seeing in the markets, plus the Astro Harmonics and Powerful Bradley and Peace of Mind, absolutely free for 2 weeks. Go to tfnn.com and click on the free trial link at the top of the page. That's an $85 value, yours free when you register right now. Get Larry's Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind and get the edge you've been looking for.
At Tiger Metal Exchange, we pay you more for converting your jewelry to cash.
Let's go to Brian in New Jersey. Hey, Brian, what's going on?
Hey, Tom. Just want to let you know I did my jeweler offered me about $650, but you get a check in the mail tomorrow for about $1,200.
At Tiger Metal Exchange, it's all about honesty when converting your jewelry to cash.
Okay, let's go to Paul in Florida first. Hey, Paul, what's going on?
I want to commend you on the Tiger Metal Exchange. I just did a deal with you guys the other day.
Oh, good.
And very happy.
Well, I appreciate it. Now, did you buy coins off us?
Yeah, I sold your jewelry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What we weighted at was less than you guys said, so, you know, you're totally honest.
Absolutely free. 8888 or log on to TigerMetalExchange.com. We've created the easiest, safest, and most honest call you need to make.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known aspects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the technology. Get in on the ground today. Great Basin Gold is a mining company engaged in the exploration and development of 2 emerging gold properties in more than 23 million gold ounces. Great Basin Fernstone Mine in South Africa opened in February of this year with a resource of 20 million gold first mine to open in the historic Whitwaters Rand Basin in the last 30 years. The Burnstone mine is projected to have a 25-year mine life and is fully financed with production anticipated to be over 200. The Hollister mine in Nevada became fully integrated in the fourth quarter of 2010 with annual production estimates of 110,000 ounces of gold per year over the 8-year mine life at a cash cost of only $527 per ounce. Great Basin Gold is cash flow positive and trades on the Toronto and New York Stock Exchanges under the symbol GBG.
Catch Basil Chapman as he uses his Chapman Wave methodology to call the markets. The TFNN.
Welcome back, folks. Steve Rhodes, Tom O'Brien. Don't forget, folks, at TFNN, we start broadcasting Monday through Friday. We broadcast live from 9 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, 3 to 6. You can get all that live at TFNN, iPhone. Bottom line, you can get Tiger TV right on that. You have an Android device, same deal you want. If you have a BlackBerry device, folks, inside that device, put tfnn.mobi, and then you can get the audio no matter where you are. So you're getting on the plane, Denver, Colorado. And, folks, if you happen to be in Denver, Steve's going to be out there Friday, Saturday doing the Master Trader Series. Great education and an unconditional money-back guarantee.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it's a beautiful thing.
It's going to be great.
Oh, it's
Absolutely.
huge. It's huge. And after Denver, folks, he's going to be Tampa, Florida, April 13th and 14th, and Boston. The 27th. That's close to opening day. I wonder what opening day is.
No, I'm H.
No, but everyone does.
Yeah, exactly. Listen to the game, what have you. No, so, we had to work around March Madness a little bit. And the Masters. So when we were selecting dates, folks, we had to actually kind of put on a calendar for any other events that might have been going on.
Right.
And hopefully we caught them all.
Yeah.
Always a lot of activity.
Big time.
Always a lot going on.
Oh, there is. And, you talk about time flying. It's going to get interesting here now. Oh, I know what we wanted to do. I want to go back to the DAX for a second.
Yeah.
Because the DAX was coming down.
So it's 25 points, down 40 points right now.
Oh, that's good.
Down 40.
That's
the
good.
FTSE's down 6.
That's good, because that's saying this S&P wants to get hit. Let me just see something here. So your first get-go. Okay, so right now, all she wants to do, she wants to test that bottom. But that's all right. It's a pretty amazing. With the S up to.
Yes.
It could have went up a little bit higher, but we get to that 140.65. But that was going into that bar from it's not 1140 because it couldn't have been 1140. 1 second. It's got to be a different day. 1 second. Let me put that on. There she is. Okay, that's what was going on. There she is, right there.
And I was pointing out to you, my clients know about. I'll point it out to the listeners out here. What I said was this market's not going to go anywhere until the NDX really starts to crack and lead us down.
Right.
And what you have to be cautious about is that the NDX on a weekly chart, if you go back to the lows put in November, completed a 1-to-1 A to B equal 139. You're trading at 27.36 here today. You got up to 27.46 yesterday.
That's amazing.
I know.
That is amazing, man.
Yeah. It is. It's great roadmaps to help you understand, where you're at in the market. You need to understand where you're at.
Oh, big time. And when we talk about, they're going to, and the spike up this morning. See, it always gets interesting. What is it spiking against? And that was spiking against the 1662 left over from 11:10 2 days ago.
Yeah, and it looks like it was making a Gartley pattern. Too, not with that spike, but the prior high session that was in there, it's probably making.
You gotta love Gartleys.
You do.
That guy Gartley, man, he was so smart. It's amazing.
Yeah, well, think of all the different trading.
Let me tell you, when Larry said to me, I was telling him about Tim Ward, and Larry said, I taught him the ABCs. I said, and then Larry said to me, and now all of that comes from Gartley. I was saying, oh my God, this is unreal.
Page 249, baby.
It's a beautiful thing. Folks, we got our man, Mr. Basil Chapman, coming up next, and then Larry Pesavento. Have a great one. Have a safe one.
Take care, folks.